Hello, my name is Eric Paetkau, and I am the music director of the Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra. On March 5th, we'll be performing Beethoven's Fourth Piano Concerto with Canadian superstar pianist Jan Lisiecki. Beethoven's Fourth Piano Concerto is a bit different than what came before, not only for Beethoven, but for the whole genre. Beethoven was a game changer, and he was already making waves in terms of pushing the envelope with his first three concerti. But with the fourth one, he went even further. Beethoven started the whole piece just with the soloist and in the dynamic of piano, so very soft. This is quite unusual. Usually there's a bombastic start with a full orchestra, and then after a little while, the soloist comes in. But here, he reversed it. And then a few bars later, the whole orchestra comes in, actually not the whole orchestra, but part of the orchestra comes in a completely different key. We start the concerto in G major, and the orchestra comes in B major. Now, that might not sound weird to many people, but when you actually hear it live, it is quite profound, and it's a little unnerving when you first hear it. Also, I said not the whole orchestra comes in, because in the first movement, even though the whole concerto is scored for strings, winds, brass, including horns, trumpets, and timpani, only in the first movement do the winds, horns, and strings play. In the second movement, he even goes further with the orchestration and only has the strings play with the piano. We have the orchestra and the soloists almost facing off with one another, where the piano is soft and the orchestra is loud. And this back and forth sets up a, shall we say, lighter and more dance-like third movement, where finally the trumpets and the timpani get to be involved. Now, we've talked already about the different compositional techniques that he used in this composition, but it was also part reflection on how he developed as an artist. Beethoven's Fourth Piano Concerto was the last one that he performed as soloist. His deafness was coming on by then, and this was a very fertile and creative point of his life. In the first public performance in front of an audience, not only was the concerto on the program, but Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, his very famous Fifth Symphony, his Sixth Symphony, his Mass in C, amongst other works. So we have a massive program for just one concert, and with that alone, there's an incredible amount of music and masterpieces just for one evening. And so this was a very creative part of Beethoven's life, where he was even coming more into his own of pushing the envelope. Earlier in his life, he was definitely doing that, but finally at this time, he was feeling more and more comfortable with what he was doing. And as a result, we have the glorious, if unorthodox, Beethoven's Fourth Piano Concerto.